Welcome back into League of Our Own. Welcome back to NRL Finals Week 1 and welcome back to Adam Blair. Blairy, my brother, how are you, mate? You doing okay?
I'm really good, thank you, Goran. Man, this is the time of the year that you want to be playing football and, you know, what better way for you and I to talk about the beautiful game of rugby league and finals football, man. It's great to see you, always a great time of the week. Chat rugby league and also chat to you, bro.
You've managed to lose a record. Because of the Warriors and James Fisher-Harris, and I saw that you picked up a few headlines along the way as well, because with James Fisher-Harris scoring a try after, what was it, only 9 seconds, 10 seconds against the Manly Sea Eagles, it eradicates the previous NRL fastest try, which you were involved in, Broncos v Eels, when Kirisomi Auva'a scored after 13.
Damn, man. I actually love a little bit of headlines, Goran.
Yeah,
and
you do.
I like having a little bit of history in the game as well, because now no one's going to know that I was obviously the holder of the fastest try, because I still have kids do ask me that question as well. But it's now been beaten, and one of the brothers, you know, Fisher-Harris, has gone and taken that mantle and scored the fastest try. You know, I wanted to try and clip it all together, man, and there was also another clip I wanted to add onto this and try and chuck it out on social media.
You should have sent it to me, mate. I can do that for you.
Man, you do everything else for us, Goran. I didn't want to give you any more work.
It's fine.
And saying that, bro, 2015 is very similar play in that we got that offload off and we end up going down the field and scoring a try, and the game was, the outcome was a little bit different. But this one, they obviously lost this one to James Fisher-Harris. Man, what a start to a game, and how crazy was that?
Almost as crazy as that offload you tried back in 2017, but almost as crazy as the result that day as well, because at Suncorp Stadium, you guys got absolutely flogged by the Eels. It was 52-34 at full time, man.
Hammered, bro. We just didn't start well, and obviously that was a big part of me. And we just couldn't recover it after that at all. So it wasn't a good night for the team. Obviously, looking back on it, man, I don't regret anything. I played the game of rugby league, and I loved every moment of what I did, man. And I backed my skill just on that, and that occasion just didn't come off.
I showed the clip to my wife Rebecca, and she was like, "Oh, he didn't take a backward step though, did he? He ran straight into 4 guys." And I was like, "Well, that's Adam Blair. If you knew Adam the player, he didn't take a backward step. He just charged into 4 or 5 or 6 blokes." And the crazy thing is, he never got injured.
It's some crazy memories, and it's always nice to see things just come up now and then, and you know, won't see that try again. You just won't see me in the history books again, because now it's Fish. Now it's Fish, and now it's Daly Cherry Evans on his last game for the Manly Sea Eagles, watching the ball bounce on the ground, and James Fisher picks it up and scores a try. It was a crazy outcome, crazy start to the game, but yeah, he's taken the mantle of now behind James. But what? There's no other person that I want to give the quickest try to than another fellow Kiwiman, James Fisher-Harris.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done on passing the mantle to the Fish. To Ika. But look, we've got bigger fish to fry, pardon the pun, because the Warriors are in finals footy. We need to celebrate that fact. It's 6v7 on Saturday afternoon, 6:05 kickoff, when they welcome the 4-time premiers, 5 straight grand finals for Ivan Cleary, striving for 5, and his Penrith Panthers visit town. I want to know, first of all, Adam, when you've got such a dominant force, and they know what they need to do at this time of the year, that muscle memory is just going to kick in. This is what Penrith Panthers do at this time of the year. They win games, they win titles. What's your game plan to take them down?
Oh man, that's a tough question, Goran, because you said everything about the Penrith Panthers and how dominant they've been over the last 4 years or 5 years, and how many grand finals they've won, and they're chasing 5, and they've got one of the best halves in the competition, but they've also got every single other player that's been in these positions before, that know what grand finals or finals games are like, and the intensity that it's played at. They've got a whole team nearly that's played in finals that knows what that is. So When I think about the Penrith Panthers and the style of football they'll play, everything builds up to this new season. The new season being finals football. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past or where you've finished. You're in the finals now. Everyone starts on 0 points. So if I think about them, the Warriors, for the Warriors, and if I'm coaching against the Penrith Panthers, it's mostly like, I guess everyone wants to complete high. Everyone wants to complete high. They want to have high possession, high completion rate, minimal errors, minimal missed tackles, and obviously outscore the opposition. When I think about the Warriors, they're not going to be able to play a grinding style of football with Penrith Panthers because they live and breathe that stuff every day. The Penrith Panthers are going to come out of the blocks. They're going to go after the Warriors. They're going to get numbers into tackles. So I think the best thing for the Warriors is they're going to have to chance their arm. They're going to have to chance their arm. They're going to have to try and create some second phase football, try and break up the defensive line. You'll see a lot of the times Penrith Panthers get in the tackle. They'll get 3-4 in the tackle, and hopefully in those moments they get a little bit loose, an offload comes, and they play off the back of that. So I think for me, if I'm thinking about the Penrith Panthers and playing them, we've got to try and create second phase football if I'm a team playing against the Penrith Panthers in finals football. And if I'm thinking about the Warriors, that's where they're going to be at their most dangerous. So someone like Aaron Clark, hitting, spinning, getting an offload away, Lek Halasimo, some late feet, finding an extra pass, maybe getting a little bit wide, dropping some boys back under. So they're going to have to break up the defensive line is what I'm saying, Goran, is the more numbers they can get into the tackle, the Penrith Panthers, the more opportunities the Warriors can try and get second phase. They're going to be lesser numbers in the line defensively for the Penrith Panthers. So what I'm saying is, on the back of last week's performance, you can't be safe. This is do or die. This is do or die, and it's going to be the second phase football that's going to break the Penrith Panthers' defensive line and create opportunities on the back of that. In saying that, you've got to score those points when those moments come in these big games. So the game's made up of moments, Goran, and if the Warriors can capitalise on every single moment that they have and get some points on the back of second phase, they'll go a long way in winning this game.
So for those who are late to the party, the team was announced on Tuesday evening. ROCCO BERRY is obviously out. He's re-injured that dislocated shoulder. And so Kurt Capewell shifts from the back row and plays centre. You've also got Jackson Ford coming back from suspension. He starts in the front row alongside James Fisher-Harris. And Wade Egan is a huge inclusion as well, and his deception and his subtlety around the ruck area is going to be a huge in for the New Zealand Warriors. There's a saying, Blairy, and you often hear it, it comes up every so often when you're talking about sport, and it's that the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And I was thinking, well, maybe we could talk a little bit about the league of our own team if Coach Blair and assistant Paladin were at the helm for this match against the Panthers. And it might look a little bit different. And what we would like to see, you and I, is our biggest and best strike weapons utilised right from the get-go. And if I may, can I tell you and everybody else what our changes would be?
Go for it.
So I think it would be a big mistake to remove Kurt Capewell from the back row. And you and I agree on this. To have him go toe-to-toe, renew that state of origin rivalry with Liam Martin, who's back for the Panthers. Liam Martin's going to be a huge inclusion for them. We know how damaging he can be with ball in hand. He goes all day. You try and lock him up with Kurt Capewell on that side of the park. I think that goes some distance to winning the contest, does it not?
Definitely. I think, the experience, obviously, have him in the right position. I don't think this time of the year, Goran, it's now finals football. It's do or die. You have nothing to lose by getting out, obviously going into Mad Monday. So you can't afford just to put out the team to put out the team. You actually have to put the best team in the right positions to beat this team. So I think Kurt Capewell definitely in the back row can play a big part in the Warriors getting the result up against Liam Martin.
If Kurt Capewell's in the back row, that shifts Leka Halasima to the bench, so you're using him for impact. when the Panthers' defensive line is tired, and maybe you're getting the best out of him there. So if Kurt Capewell is no longer in the centres, we need to find one. I believe the best possible fit would be Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad. He moves from the fullback position to left centre. So as we saw earlier in the season, you put the old timers together, Roger, Charnze, and then Kurt Capewell inside Charnze. That to me seems like a rock solid left edge, Blairy.
It's experience for me, and I remember a few episodes back we had a conversation before we went into our conversation for everyone to hear about having these changes in our team, and we just didn't back ourselves. We didn't back ourselves to come out and talk about it. So this is us now backing ourselves, and I think that's where they got to go. They have to strengthen up with experience on that side. So if you go Kurt Capewell, you go Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad in the centre position. You've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. That is a pretty experienced edge, although I know Charnze is in the centre, but he's their best option, I think. He's their best option in that position. It does definitely stiffen up that left side defence as well.
Yeah, and so if you've got Charnze in the centre position, we need to find a fullback. It's a no-brainer for me. If he's not playing on the wing, you put TAINE Tuopiki in his preferred position and the one number on his back. So that, for me, is the majority of the changes. And then finally, you take Chanel Harris-Tavita and you swap him with Te Maire Martin. And it's Te Maire and Tanner Boyd in the halves. You've got all of those attacking weapons, hopefully, fingers crossed, for 80 minutes against the Penny Panthers. You need to outscore them. Having guys like TAINE and Te Maire on the field for the full 80, I think that's the way you got to go, Blairy.
I like it, Goran. I think it's their most dangerous team. Obviously, you can't remove Tanner from the halves position because his kicking game is what's going to keep them. Will create field position, and hopefully on the back of field position, good defensive sets, and then it allows the likes of Te Maire, Wade Egan in their middle forwards and Aaron Clark to be able to do their thing, to get the ball to the Kurt Capewells or the Charnze Nicoll-Klokstads or the Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So I think that just makes sense. Chanel Harris-Tavita can cover most of the positions on the field. At a pinch, you can move someone else around. You can bring Leka, who can cover in the centre position. We've seen him do a job there. You can move him into lock, Chanel. You can move him into the dummy half position. At a pinch again, you can move him to half. So I reckon very similar role that Te Maire would normally play. I just think Te Maire has a bit more X factor to be able to go after this game on the back of Tanner's kicking, the forwards going after them, giving them an opportunity to play their style of football inside the Penrith Panthers half. That's when I reckon Te Maire Martin comes into his own.
So that would give us a bench of Chanel Harris-Tavita over Sam Healey. And as you say, he covers a multitude of positions, Chanel. And if the worst case scenario were to happen and that Te Maire or Tanner Boyd were to go down with injury, you just slot Chanel right in there, and he's been playing all season long. Shouldn't really miss a beat. So Chanel over Sam Healey. Then you've got Leka Halasima, as I mentioned earlier, Dimitrik, Tanner Stowers-Smith. There's your 17 on game day. And I feel like that gives you a better opportunity to unleash all of that X factor. You've got your best attacking weapons on the park. Anything can happen at that point. Here's the question, though. How likely is Andrew Webster to pull a swifty and a loose one on Ivan Cleary? I mean, these guys, they know each other pretty well. Andrew Webster, a former Penrith Panthers assistant coach of a few years ago. Would Ivan be expecting something like this? Is it like a case of a double bluff? Does he say, oh, he's probably going to make all these changes and then just stick with the tried and true? How likely is it that Andrew Webster makes these changes that we're talking about?
Well, I said it before, Goran. When we thought about this, we didn't speak about it, but then it happened on the weekend, on the game day. So if you do your due diligence as a coach and you've seen the similar pattern or this team being announced before, and you look at their 23, it means everyone in that 23 has a chance of taking their place on the field. So you have right up to an hour before kickoff to choose your starting team, or choose your 7 or 18 out of your 23 players that you have named. And you've got TAINE Tuaupiki sitting at 18th man right now. You've got Sam Healy sitting at 19th man. So things could jump around. I reckon it's highly likely, he's going to chuck the team in that we said.
All right.
I'm not saying that we told him, but I just think it's the team that's going to get the result. If they need to get this result. I think the team that they've got right now, you want to they're not the best players in their positions, and you've got a guy like TAINE Tuaupiki who can fall into the fullback position. You've got someone like Chance that can clearly get a job done with the experienced players around him at centre position. You got Tamaiti, who we all love and know that can play some footy. And I said it earlier, the way they're going to beat the Penrith Panthers in a bit of second phase football. So you're going to need Aaron Clark being the best man on the field again, which he has done for a fair bit of the season. You're going to need Tamaiti Martin playing his best footy, and you're going to need Tanner doing the best that he can with the ball, without the ball, and kicking nice and long. And then every single forward is going to have to step up. They're going to have to find something within. This is only the start. All the work that they've done to get them to where they are. Now they've got to go onto it. They've got to go up another gear against the Penrith Panthers, who we know, man, you give them a sniff, they'll take everything off you and suffocate you.
They sure will. And somebody who knows that better than anybody is the Warriors co-captain, James Fisher-Harris. He hasn't been at his Penrith Panthers best, if you get what I'm saying. And when he doesn't have his brother-in-arms, Mitch Barnett, alongside him, obviously he's got to shoulder more of the captaincy, the verbal, talking to the referee. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he just wants to roll those sleeves up and bash people and tackle people. But for whatever reason, we haven't seen the best out of James Fisher-Harris. Surely this weekend, against this old team, motivated by the one-on-one battle with his bash brother, Moses Leota, bragging rights, saying, look, we put you guys out of the competition. We ended the reign of the four-time premiership winning Penrith Panthers. If that doesn't get Fish up for this battle, I don't know what will.
Oh, mate, he'll be ready for it, Goran. And I just, going back to your stuff about Fish, maybe when you talk about, missing his co-captain, and the big part of, what James Fisher-Harris does is he's a man of action. Yeah. A man of action, not a person that doesn't speak a lot. And you've heard even through the preseason and even through this season, the aura that he carries around when he walks around, and he doesn't even have to say anything. But I think when you, I guess for him, you've come home to New Zealand, there's most probably a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure from the outside in on a person that's come from a real successful organisation like the Penrith Panthers to carry a lot of this pressure, and maybe something that he's not been used to in the past, Goran, because he's had the likes of, a team that's just gone about their business and done their jobs. He's had to this year go over and beyond what he's done in the past, I feel. So it's mostly, uncharted waters when you talk about James Fisher-Harris and being exposed to all these different areas now that he's been in New Zealand, where it's becoming more about culture, connection, development with these younger players coming through, your Dimitriks, your Eddie Edemirs, your Lekas, all these young kids coming through. I feel like he's carrying a lot of that on his shoulders as well as trying to lead from the front, as well as being a captain, as well as talking a little bit more than he's had to, as well as doing press conferences. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure that comes with being a captain, and you're the captain of the One New Zealand Warriors, the only rugby league team in the Australian competition in New Zealand, and then always also come from a successful club. So yeah, maybe he hasn't been his best, but I think what he's been able to create thus far has most probably been a success. But like you said, if you can't, even if anyone can't, not just James, if you can't get up for this game, then I don't know what can. But I wouldn't be doubting, and I know we're not doubting him, but I wouldn't be saying that he's not going to get up for this one, because, man, if there's any game when it comes to the big moments or all these big time games, I've played alongside Fish. I've been in the sanctum with Fish, and his eyes will be rolling in the back of his head for this one, going up against some of his best mates, and carrying New Zealand on the back of his shoulders, and hopefully getting them one step closer to the end goal. And he hasn't been, most probably himself, you could say that, Goran, he hasn't been his best, and due to whatever reasons, but this game's going to show if the Warriors as a whole, not only James Fisher-Harris, that they're ready to go to that next level in the finals football.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's go from one captain to another, from James Fisher-Harris to ISAAH YEO. Everybody talks about the spine in rugby league. It's the 1, 6, 7 and 9. I feel like for the Penrith Panthers, you can add the 13 because ISAAH YEO, he's not just a lock forward. He's like an additional halfback. And one of the things that the Warriors will watch out for this weekend is when ISAAH YEO gets on the ball. And when ISAAH YEO gets his hands on the ball and pushes Nathan Cleary out to second receiver, they nearly always find an extra man. And so it'll be ISAAH YEO with the ball to Nathan Cleary. When Nathan Cleary's got the ball in his hands, he'll have two options. He's got a lead runner or Blaise Talangi out the back. When Blaise has the ball in his hands, he's got the same story. If he finds the centre, more often than not, it's McLean. If we're talking about the left-hand side, then he's just got to pop the pass and find, on this occasion, it'll be Alamotti because Jenkins has been dropped, and they scoot away to score. So can you talk to us about how ISAAH YEO gets involved like that, but also, on the other side of things, how do the Warriors guard against that?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing with ISAAH YEO is to minimise his effect, the Warriors are going to have to make him clock up tackles because I think he's the most dangerous player in that team, the Penrith Panthers team, because like you said, he's normally the one that touches the ball first before it gets to whoever needs the ball, a la Nathan Cleary or Blaise Talangi. So I think it's someone like him that needs to be shut down. So take his effectiveness away from him by making him make tackles, which he'll just keep turning up because that's how he does. But hopefully by then he's less effective with the ball. The Warriors are going to have to work hard from the inside. The markers are going to have to work because he does like coming close to the ruck and then skipping on that overs line. And he's not afraid to take the ball to the line too, Goran. So at times he'll go right to the line, dummy, go himself, poke his nose through, get a quick play of the ball. The other times he'll go at the back, play straight to Nathan Cleary or Blaise Talangi, or he'll just go catch pass to Nathan Cleary. So I just think if you can pressure him from the inside, because he can come off both feet, so they've got to be very aware. That's why when you go after the inside pressure on anyone that carries a ball, you're targeting their inside shoulder. You're not coming straight in front of them. Once the ball gets on the outside of you, and that's ISAAH YEO, which he likes to, skip on the outside, then you go get him from the inside, so you don't allow him to come back off his left or his right foot. That big pressure for the markers to work hard from the inside. He's got to make sure that they make him play early. So rather than him digging into the line, which he likes to do, Goran, they're going to have to make him play a bit early, put him under a bit of pressure for a bit of line speed, inside pressure, get him out early so that the edges don't have to panic because they're going to have numbers coming at them really fast. So if they put inside pressure on him, he's going to have to roll early. They get up nice and high, they can solve it pretty easily. But at the same time, Goran, it's easy said than done. But for me, he's their main man. For me, he's their main man. Take away him out of the game, they've got to look for someone else that does that job. And I know they've got someone else that does it for them, but they're not as effective as ISAAH YEO and what he can create. And he's fresh. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he is. And if ISAAH YEO is the main man, then the supporting actor is Nathan Cleary. I know that through the week, the Warriors are looking at using his younger brother, Jett, who's part of the New South Wales Cup squad. They're running him in opposed sessions. Now, Jett is clearly not Nathan. But they say that he moves in a similar way, and he knows the way that Nathan goes about his business. So what kind of benefit is it to have Jett Cleary at the Warriors to try and shut down Nathan?
Well, I think like any good team does their vision on the opposition. And typically your New South Wales Cup team should be running all the opposition's plays at you so you can get a bit of a feel for what's coming. Like you said, Jett Cleary's not Nathan Cleary, but like you said, he's quite similar to the way that he does things. He's not going to be exactly the same, but all you're doing is running the shape that the Panthers are running. And he's been there before. He knows what they do. Their pathways have been strong. Their systems run through the club. So they all do the same thing. And it's a benefit to the Warriors because he knows the plays that they're running and knows how to run those plays so that the Warriors can get an opportunity to defend against what may be coming on the afternoon or on the night when they play the Penrith Panthers. So I like it, but like all clubs, that's what you've got to do. You've got to mimic the opposition. You've got to give the Warriors an opportunity to get a feel for what's coming at them, to be able to defend the shapes that are coming. And what better way than using Jett Cleary as an opponent to run those shapes at them?
Yeah, so they're mimicking Nathan Cleary with the help of Jett. We're targeting ISAAH YEO, making sure that he makes plenty of tackles. He's ineffective in attack. Somebody else they might want to target is Dylan Edwards, which seems crazy because we're talking about New South Wales players here, Yeo, Cleary and Edwards. But when you look at Dylan Edwards' form over the last few weeks, it's been not dire, that's harsh, because he's still got plenty of running meters in him, but his hands are abandoning him badly. I think in the last 6 games he's had 13 handling errors, and it's across the board. It's under the high ball, it's in contact. Sometimes it's just him running and nobody's around him, and he's lost the handle on the footy. So there is an opportunity here on Saturday to put some serious pressure on Dylan Edwards, and if you get him early, maybe he has a bad game as well. So I'm thinking Tanner Boyd with some kind of spiral punt, put him under pressure early, and then get bodies around him as he's bringing the ball back, and maybe Dylan Edwards is a key to the Warriors' success, Blairy. Yeah,
he hasn't played his best footy. He had some knee injuries through the season, and I don't think he's been in and out of form. But so have the Penrith Panthers, to be honest. He's a tough rugby league player, and I've always liked what he's been able to do. He just keeps turning up through the tough times, and again, like all of them, Goran, they've played in these big games before. They know what it takes. They know they just have to win this game to get to the next. They've done it all before, but if there's someone that you want to try and target when it comes to kicks, it's mostly going to be him. Errors, when it comes to him, you don't see many errors off the back of him, but he's made a fair few over the last few weeks with his handling errors and just his ball control. So if there's a weakness, and I reckon we're clutching at something here to try and to break down the Penrith Panthers. It's maybe putting him under pressure. Capewell likes to jump for the ball, getting down there. Obviously, they don't have ROCCO BERRY, who likes to also chase as well. But they're going to have to try. They're going to have to try everything to beat this Penrith Panthers team. They can't just go there and just think we're just going to go into a grind. And for 65 minutes, it's going to go set for set. The ball's going to be in play for 30 of those. And hopefully at the end of the day, we'll just outplay them, or we'll score a try in the corner, and that'll be it, because you'll play straight into the Penrith Panthers' hand otherwise.
Just quickly, we will be picking our winners and Betcha This Happens for first week of the finals in a moment. But you mentioned the name of ROCCO BERRY. And a few weeks ago, when he was out injured, you and I said, what's the best course of action for ROCCO BERRY's return to play, if you like? And we both agreed he needed to be sat down in New South Wales Cup, and Andrew Webster needed to figure out what his best centre pairing was moving forward, because he can find an injury. And lo and behold, he finds the injury against the Seagulls early in the game. It puts enormous stress on the rest of the playing roster that night against the Seagulls. You shift Lecker to centre and things don't work. And so what are we hoping for from ROCCO BERRY for next season? We won't see him again. That's one question. But the other one is, has Andrew Webster actually mismanaged this player to a certain extent? Because he's been coming and going. It's like been a yo-yo of sorts. He's up and down. He's in, he's out. Like, should he have just been put in reserve grade and had the opportunity to get his reps up instead of being thrust into first grade and constantly getting injured, re-injured?
He's definitely their best centre that they have at the moment in that position when he's healthy and fit. And you said it, for me and for someone that's been on the sidelines a fair bit, and he's been in and out of the team, 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, out for 4, out for 6. I think the way you build confidence is to go down and play New South Wales Cup. You're not getting dropped. It's that we just want you to build some reps. Like you said, get some reps into your body, get through 6 games unscathed, especially when the New South Wales Cup were doing such a good job. They're playing finals football as well. So it wasn't like they're going to a team where they're getting pumped every single week. No. They've got a quality team down there as well and some quality players. He fits in there. He racks up 6 games. He's healthy. You're ready to go now with the big boys. Chuck him in the team, go do your thing. And it's unfortunate for ROCCO. He seems to find himself these unfortunate injuries. He's diving for, I think it was Travojevic, or no, Lehigh. And he just dives out and just lands on his arm and his shoulder gets dislocated. So he just finds these things. And I'm not going to say they're little injuries, but little moments in games where they just become 5 to 6 weeks to 7 weeks on the sidelines due to I reckon, I'm not saying his shoulders aren't strong enough, because he's diving out there, and it's unfortunate because, I've seen a lot of people dislocate their shoulders doing that this year, or landing on their arm with reaching out for tries and getting sore shoulders from the back of that. But yeah, I think for ROCCO and moving forward, it's get as strong as you can and get as strong as you can in this off season and get ready to hit the ground running come November 3 or November 5 when they start back. It could be even later. And just be the best version of yourself and be injury-free.
Yeah, I get it, and I think a lot of other people do as well, that without Ali Leotawa, it's almost like, okay, if ROCCO BERRY is back from injury, if the docs, the medicos, they say he's good to go, oh, shit, we don't have Ali, we may as well play ROCCO BERRY. Because what's the other alternative? It's the one that we mentioned earlier. Chance plays centre, or Kurt Capewell plays centre. So I understand it, but at the same time, I just think it's detrimental to the player. And you and I, we're both massive fans of ROCCO BERRY. We love what he does when he's free of injury. I think this year has just been, oh man, it's been tough for him. And I can't wait to see him next season, injury-free, and he gets a really good go. But this year has not been his year.
Man, when he can rack up 20 games straight, Goran, he's going to be an international player. He's going to be an international player. If he can rack up 20 games straight consistent and do what he does week in, week out without getting injured, he's knocking on the door of test match footy without a doubt. And we love what he does because he does the little things really well. He hunts from mark. He gets down on the kick chase. He will cut across someone to make a tackle off a kickoff, even though that's not his man. But he's that willing that sometimes being so keen causes injuries to ROCCO, because he's all team first. Everything he does is team first actions, Goran. And I guess that's why people love what he does. And like I said, if he's healthy and fit, he can string 20 games together, man. He's knocking on the door of test footy for sure.
Blairy, it's Betcha This Happens for week 1 of the finals. But before we look at our 4 encounters, a quick review, a wrap-up of last week. We fell over it. I feel like we say this nearly every week. We fell over at the first hurdle because I didn't pick the Broncos over the Storm, but we picked 7 from 8. So not bad, but not good when it comes to an 8-leg multi.
Oh, man, it was, when you look at the history of the Storm and the Broncos, I don't think, unless you're a massive Broncos fan, that you would have picked that game, because the history says that Melbourne win it. They don't win it. Broncos turn up, man, and put a number on the Storm, and we go short again, man.
We go short again. But the good thing about this competition is we live to see another day. It just keeps on going. So time for Betcha This Happens for week 1 of the NRL Finals, and it begins with the Melbourne Storm paying $1.50, Canterbury Bulldogs $2.60. Bulldogs are going to be without Bronson Xerri and Marcelo Montoya. For the Storm, there are some massive outs. Big Nasty out through suspension. We might not see him again. It's a familiar story for Nelson Asofa-Solomona. May not see him again this season. Ryan Pappenhausen is out, and of course Jerome Hughes is absent. What way do you see this one going, Blairy?
Man, I think the Storm can still get a job done. They've been disappointing, I reckon, to their own standards. And you've heard Craig Bellamy speak about it in the press conferences. They get a hiding, 44 points or 40 points in the second after nil. They go up and play a Broncos team at Suncorp Stadium, where history says they get a job done. But they were outplayed. They were physically bashed. This Broncos team were just so more athletic and powerful and took the game away from them. So I'm going to say that I don't think the Storm have lost 3 games on the trot. 3 games on the trot. I know this is finals football. They play a lot of finals football. It's 1 game for them. And then it's a rest. So I think they throw all their eggs into this game and go after this Bulldogs team and get a win.
And the Bulldogs are there for the taking. Even though the Storm have a number of unavailables, the Bulldogs have hit a wall big time. The only win that they've had in the last 4 came against the Penrith Panthers, but it was a Panthers reserve grade side. So, and the big inclusion for Melbourne is the return of their skipper Harry Grant. So with that said, Melbourne Storm at $1.50 is our first leg of the multi. We come to Saturday afternoon, 6 o'clock kickoff, or just after. New Zealand Warriors paying $3.20. The 4-time NRL Premiers, the Penrith Panthers, $1.35, Adam.
Jeez, that's a bit steep on the Warriors, especially at home.
At home, yeah.
It's going to be packed, Goran. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I can just envision all the lights going off and the celebrations beforehand for the Warriors. I'm guessing the week back home has been pretty good inside the 4 walls. It's an opportunity for the Warriors to go one step further. It's an opportunity for the country to get behind them, and to be paying that much. It's crazy, because
it'd be good for our multi.
It'd be absolutely crazy. But I just think, man, how can you bet against a Penrith Panthers team that just have played finals football for the last
June.
5 years? 5 years
Since
and been
June
the
this
best,
year, if you know what I mean.
Ben's been the best team in the competition, and they go to New Zealand and you're going to bet against them. I can't see the Warriors beating them. Although, Goran, I would love to see nothing more than the Warriors get a win and go on to next week. But I think the Penrith Panthers they're going to be too strong.
I'm with
you. Too experienced.
Yeah, I'm with you in that. There's nothing I would love more than to see the Warriors win on Saturday and progress to week 2. Because look, they're one of the reasons why we do this thing called League of Our Own. We love pumping up New Zealand Rugby League. And if the Warriors are out of the competition, sure, there are New Zealand players across the other teams, but we want to see the Warriors succeed. However, they're up against the Panthers. They've got all of their origin stars back, unlike what happened in round 16. And in round 16, they went down to an undermanned, understrength Panthers team at Go Media Stadium, Mount Smart, 28 points to 18. The Panthers, they went on that remarkable run in early June. They won 9 straight. As I said, I'm talking all over the top of you, and I'm sorry for that. They were basically playing finals football from dead last from June. And here they are making the 8 in 7th spot. They've got Cleary, they've got Yeo, they've got Martin, they've got Edwards, they've got To'o, they've got everybody. And I think it's just too much for the Warriors to get over. I'm backing the Penrith Panthers for the second leg of our multi.
No one's given them a chance, the Warriors, Goran, which is, it's crazy.
We move on, mate. The Sharks, $2.10. This is the late game on the Saturday night. Sharks paying $2.10. The Roosters, $1.73. The Roosters are settled. They have, I think, the same 17 that they picked last week. They've won 5 of their last 6. Up against the Sharks, again, pretty settled side. Nico Hines has avoided suspension because the Bulldogs went into bat for him and showed the NRL the medical report. Braden Trindle's back, and I see that Briton Nakora is also named on the extended bench. So what way do you see this one going? Two sides that I find it very hard to pick between.
Tough. This is going to be a battle, I reckon. This one's a couple of big forward packs going after each other, some class in the outside backs. Predominantly the Sharks invest a lot into their back 5 carries. That's where everything starts for the Sharks. And then on the back of their momentum, you've got the likes of Adam Fanua, Blake, Jaden Brayley, who's doing an awesome job. And then you've got, Nico Hines being able to come into his own of late as well. So I'm guessing everyone's going to go for Roosters. I think could be the upset here. I reckon Sharkies might get him.
I'm going to back the Sharks at $2.10. Look, the Roosters, they've exceeded expectations. I think one of our early conversations, we thought maybe the Roosters would finish dead last because of all of the people who left, and they've found a way to win football games. They've got Sam Walker back. The back 3 for the Roosters, Tedesco, Marky Mark, Daniel Tupou. There's so much attacking threat there. Yeah, but I'm still going the Sharks. Sharks.
Yeah, well, they're gonna go to their strike weapons on the wings, man, up against some of those smaller guys of the Sharkies. But I think, like you said, they've done a great job this year, the Roosters. But I think the upside here for the Sharkies, go after them.
And then the final match of week 1. It's the minor premiers, the Canberra Raiders, $1.68. The favourite against the Brisbane Broncos, $2.20. The Canberra Raiders, look, it wasn't really the Canberra Raiders at the weekend against the Dolphins. It was basically a reserve grade side that got flogged.
Oh man, this year that the Broncos are going, especially the last few games of late, it kind of reminds me of the Broncos of 2015. They go on a late run into the season. They knock off a couple of heavyweights and they jump into the finals and sneak through all the way into grand final day purely on the way that they play. And mate, if you look at the Brisbane Broncos and the athletes that they have across the park and the things they can do, the Raiders have been so consistent with their game style this year. The Broncos have been inconsistent. But if the Broncos put it together, Goran, I know where you're going, but I think this could be an upset. I think this could be an upset. I think the Broncos will back themselves to play the style of football that beat the Melbourne Storm last week and move that pack around. I guess the biggest question for me with the Brisbane Broncos is, can they compete with the tough style of rugby league football that the Raiders play? That's the question for me. But when it comes to the style of football that the Broncos play, I reckon they can exploit this Canberra Raiders team all over the park. It's the toughness of the game. Can those young, athletic, really energetic middle forwards be able to compete with some of the real OGs of the game, the Joseph Tarpanese, the Corey Horsburgh, who just loves getting people into the grind, the guys on the outside backs that just do their job, the Ethan Strange that loves taking the line on. Can they compete with someone like Timuka or Sebastian Chris when they're carrying the ball? So I'm going to say, and I know you're not going to go with me, but I'm going to say the Brisbane Broncos get an upset because I feel something similar to a 2015's Broncos. It was a long time ago when I played there, but I feel something building in that space up against a team that's number one for a reason, but everything's zero going this weekend. We start on an even platform, and it's just one game at a time that you have to win. You put all your eggs into this one game, and you just never know what happens. So I think the Brisbane Broncos.
I've got a sneaking suspicion you might be onto something with the Broncos, but they don't get the job done this weekend. I reckon the Broncos, because they've earned themselves a safety net, they probably go down to the Raiders, but then they try and find their way back to a semi-final or even a grand final with their second chance. So with that being said, the final leg of the multi, I'm picking the Canberra Raiders. It gives us a multi of $7.14, which isn't great. Look, I've picked mainly favourites here. So we'll put, because it's finals, I'll put $5 on. Yeah, I know. Hey, big spender. Putting $5 on at $7.14 is a return of $35.72. As always, bet responsibly on the Betcha app, R18. Adam Blair, an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be in your company to talk ahead of finals week 1 in the NRL. How good is it going to be? And I'm looking forward to seeing all 4 games. The only downside to this time of the year is that the games in number are diminishing and we're getting to the end of the competition. That's the only downside, mate.
Yeah, what a chat, Goran. Finals football, man. It's a special time of the year. The sun starts coming out.
Yes.
The grounds are fast. Everyone's excited. The fans are buying in. The players are getting amongst it. So it's a great time to be playing football. And, you know, what better way for us just to speak about these cracker games coming up. And, you know, the best 8 teams are in the final. There's no doubt. These games are going to be awesome. They're going to be outstanding. And let's hope for all our fans that tune into us. And on our podcast and listen, and on the YouTube channel, that the Warriors go on to live another day, because we get to speak about them even more, and the fans get to jump on there and have a chat as well. So always a pleasure, Goran. Love chatting to you, brother, and you know this thing just keeps happening because we love what we do.